Welcome. I'm Norfolk County Register of Deeds, Bill O'Donnell, and it's certainly my privilege, along with the Registry of Deeds staff, to welcome each one of you here today to the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. Thanks to each and every one of you for taking the time and certainly the effort to be here as Veterans Day approaches to honor our country's veterans. This We Remember Our Veterans celebration and the commemorative book, and certainly take more books on the way out. It's dedicated to all veterans, past, present, and future, for their patriotism and their sacrifices on behalf of the United States of America. To start our program off, we want to thank Norfolk County Sheriff Patrick McDermott and the Norfolk County's Sheriff's Department for being here to post colors. We really appreciate it. And I'd like to call up Norwood Veterans Agent and an Air Force veteran, Ted Mulvihill, who will be leading us in the posting of colors.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Registrar. Dear friends, Americans all, welcome. Detail, host colors.
Post colors.
We're lucky to have some special talent singing here for us today. And let us thank these Norwood High School students from my hometown of Norwood, the Norwood High Madrigal Choir, and also a special thank you to Norwood High School teacher and high school choir director Jennifer Hartnett, the Norwood High Madrigals. And can we just give them a round of applause for entertaining us today? And again, they're here to sing the national anthem, so please do.
Detail, present arm.
And again, if we could, the Norwood High students, it's great that they're here. They got studies. Some of them got to get back to jobs. So again, a big round of applause and thank them. Thank them. And we'd like to please welcome a veteran and a local attorney, Steve Brady, who practices law in Walpole with his uncle Jim Brady, who's also a United States veteran in the Navy. Steve grew up in Norfolk and served 20 years in the United States Army. Steve had 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan and is the recipient of the Bronze Star for his service and sacrifice. So Steve is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and afterwards you can sit as Steve's going to share a few words with us. Could we please give a round of applause to Steve Brady?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Left face. Forward. March.
Good evening. I see we have a lot of vets in the auditorium here today. Can you hear me on this? I'll use my big boy voice if I have to.
I'll take care of it right now. Sorry, sir.
No, no worries.
Try that now.
And I thought, veterans, what a diverse group of people. The general public thinks we're all one vanilla group. But what a diverse group of people, and I see it in here right now. Different races, different national origins, different ages. You all joined different services. Some of us served in peacetime, some of us served in times of conflict. We all had different jobs. Some of us were people who blew things up, and some of us were people who built things. And so we all had these different experiences. Some of us served in the States, some of us were overseas, some of us were in combat zones, some of us saw combat. But what's the common denominator with veterans? And to me, it is this. It's simply this. And I'll leave you with this. I'll be very brief because I want the Secretary to speak. I want to hear his words. A veteran is someone who left their family, left their home, and left their lives for this nation. That, to me, is a veteran. Thank you.
Well, the foundation for this, we remember our veteran celebration, is certainly the rich history of the United States of America and also Norfolk County. There's a lot of history here in this building with all the books around here, and there's actually 4 deeds involving the 4 United States presidents who were born here in Norfolk County in these registry records, and that's why Norfolk County is called the County of Presidents. I hope you enjoy the storyboards that are around the building. The rich history that is in the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds has come alive as a result of our first in New England, and some say first in the country, transcription project. And the project has allowed us to access all these records and to put together that booklet that you got. We remember our veterans, and again, on your way out, there are some veterans that can't be here. You know, please feel free to take that booklet home. There have been sacrifices of so many people on behalf of this great country, the United States of America. And to all the veterans in the crowd, if you could please stand up or give us a wave. And I think we should show our appreciation for their service and say thank you to all of them with a round of applause. And again, this celebration, and we remember our Veterans Book, is a salute not only to the veterans, but also to the organizations, and I know some of them are here today, that support our veterans, whether it's the Red Cross, the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And certainly, there's a number of veterans agents from our communities, some are here who are here today. They work hard every day to make sure the veterans receive the service and the respect that veterans so truly deserve. And also a big thank you to the family members of our veterans who are very much part of the sacrifice that comes with service of their loved one. And I can think of no better representative, and there are plenty here today, but I'm going to acknowledge Gold Star wife from the town of Weymouth, 80 years old, she's here, Jeanette Rose Gutschall, right there, Jeanette. I would like to just do a few thank yous before we bring the secretary up. and move things along. And first of all, an event like this doesn't happen without a great staff. So a big thank you to the registry staff and the registry maintenance department. But more importantly, every day, this Registry of Deeds is one of the best registries, if not the best registry in the state of Massachusetts. And the only reason it is because of the staff. One registry stakeholder called the Norfolk Registry of Deeds the gold standard among Massachusetts registries. And it's only the gold standard. There's no I in team. It's the staff. And again, I'd like to thank the registry of staff, past and present. Some of the past staff members are former First Assistant Richard Kennedy, former Second Assistant Linda Berman are here. So again, thank them and thank the staff for what they do every day. There are thank yous and acknowledgments in the book for those who contributed to the stories, and I know some of them are here today. I want to thank you for your interest and certainly your efforts in helping put this book together. A big thank you to our community media that's here this evening. We have a thank you to the Quincy Access Television and Mark Crosby. Thank you to Jack Tolman, Ron Marshalsea, Norwood Community Media. And then George Willett is here from Dedham Television, and we would like to thank them for covering the event today. Norfolk Registry of Deeds is an arm of government. Some say a sleepy arm of government, but a lot of things get done. The biggest asset we have is our home here. And we have to work with a lot of levels of government that are represented here today. You have town and city governments, county, state, and federal partners in government. And we want to thank those people for being here. I'd like to thank Attorney General Andrea Campbell's from her office, Bill Aiello. We have Steve Croteau from Deborah Goldberg's office. The state reps and senators, they're great partners. Brandy Fluker Oakley with her staff person, Representative Brandy Fluker Oakley, who represents part of Milton. We have State Representative Jeff Roy, and then a state senator and a U.S. Navy veteran. Please say a special welcome to Mike Rush, who's right there. Mike, thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. And State Senator Walter Timilty is on his way and said he would be here. From the county, again, we thank Pat McDermott. You know, he's a much better singer than I, so he'll be finishing the song at the end. But Norfolk County Sheriff, and he used to work here at the registry, went on to bigger and better things, Patrick McDermott. And we get support from the Norfolk County Advisory Board. Tom Polito, he represents Dedham, and he's also chair of the Blue Hill Regional Committee and a former Dedham select person. He's here. Paul Dumas, who used to be a former member of the Foxborough. He represented the Foxborough at the advisory board, and George Smith from Rentham, who also represents Rentham at the Norfolk County Advisory Board, and they help support what gets done here at the Registry of Deeds. And also Paul Dumas was a great coach for the American Legion Foxborough baseball team, along with a Norwood guy, Bill Travis. So again, thank them for being here, and we really appreciate it. I also, you've seen I don't know, maybe you've seen our second President of the United States, John Adams is here today, but But a big thank you to him. He's a famous Massachusetts reenactor, but he actually works here at the Registry of Deeds, and that's Mike LePage. So thank you, Michael, for being here. And I at this time, would just like to introduce our main speaker. Again, it seems appropriate that on the day that the Registry of Deeds honors the veterans of Norfolk County, we are honored to have Secretary of Veteran Services John Santiago as our guest. Thanks to a law that was passed by the legislature in 2022, and again, Senator Rush is here representing the legislature, our guest speaker became the first person in the history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to hold the title Secretary of Veteran Services. It means about 300,000 Massachusetts veterans now have a direct pipeline to Governor Maura Healey through Secretary Santiago. And because the Executive Office of Veteran Services has cabinet rank status, Veterans are at the table when important issues such as housing, education, healthcare are discussed. And I can assure you, our state's veterans could not have a better advocate in that cabinet room than Secretary Santiago, a U.S. Army Reserve Major who has served twice overseas, a former legislator who actually represented a portion of Norfolk County, an emergency room doctor, a Peace Corps volunteer, and a Fulbright scholar. So we're very lucky this evening that he was kind enough to come by the Norfolk Registry of Deeds building to say a few words about the men and women who we're honoring today, our veterans. So I'd like to introduce Massachusetts Secretary of Veterans Services, John Santiago.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's so great to be here. Let's give a round of applause to the Register. Thank you so much for the invitation. For all you do, in public service requires a lot of energy, sacrifice, and commitment. And so I want to thank you on behalf of the governor and lieutenant governor for what you do day in, day out, because we're all a team. Government is the ultimate team game, and whether you're on the county side, the legislative side, city or town, a lot of people depend on your work, and so I want to thank you for that. Sheriff, thank you for being here, committed public servant to our veterans. To my good friend, Senator Mike Rush, he is the epitome of what a veteran public servant is. I've had the honor of working with him as a legislator in Boston. He's a Boston guy, so am I, working together. There are few people in government in this whole state that are fighting as hard for veterans and for you than the elected officials in this space today, so I want to thank you for that. I'm excited about this Veterans Day. This is my first Veterans Day serving as a secretary. As the Register said, this is the first time that this particular position has been elevated from a department to secretariat. And that took a lot of work, a lot of organizing, and a lot of the work was because of you. The advocacy, the letters, contacting your legislators to make this happen. And so that's why I'm here today, and that's not lost on me. But it's also an important day for me as we approach Veterans Day this Saturday, because last year at this time, I was in Syria, thousands of miles away, serving my country. And as many of you know who've been deployed, long stretches of boredom, punctuated by moments of action when you have to get up and go to work. And in the Army, I'm an ER doctor, so at times we were a little busy. And I think about my service, those long moments of boredom, the shared meals with your colleagues, the weight room, the card playing. I don't play cards, but I play cards when I'm in the Army, as many of you know how that is. You get to know your soldiers, your servicemen and women who you're on the front lines with. And it's those experiences that I take with me wherever I go. I think about this young specialist, 20-something years old, from rural Ohio, who had never left the state, never mind the country, and how his dream was just to come back to Ohio and work in his father's farm. I think about this young woman who was a single mother from Pennsylvania, 3 kids, who, upon their return home in the States, she would call, kiss them goodnight because she was on her way to bed herself. She couldn't kiss them goodnight, but she let them know when she got home, she was there for them. I think about the many young men and women who were challenged and battled by some mental health illness, even while abroad, from previous deployments or from situations going on at home. Now, they would talk to me about their issues, hoping that these demons wouldn't come back in their current deployment. I think about my own challenges there, being away from my wife and my son who was 7 months old when I left. And I'm back, now he's almost 2 years old, and so glad to see him growing and healthy, and how challenging it was for the family, because it's not just about the veterans, right? It's about the families. And the work that we do at our executive office, and I know the governor and the lieutenant governor feel just as passionate about this. It's about the veteran, but it's about their families as well. So when Governor Healy approached me about this position, I was still in Syria, actually, and Lieutenant Governor called as well, and we had a great conversation about it. And at first, I was a bit timid with respect to the job. As you know, starting up a brand new agency has its challenges in government, the bureaucracy, the red tape. But there are also some issues to deal with, whether it's the veteran homes in Holyoke and Chelsea, where over 100 soldiers tragically passed away, or a variety of issues that were happening in state government, in the office, that had to be addressed. So we had those conversations, and I thought long and hard about the position, and I thought about the people I was serving with, the people I had served with, people like yourself in the room today. And I thought about how could I best serve you? My life's been about public service. And so when the challenge came up, I said yes, because I thought about that young soldier who was going to go back to Ohio to work in that farm, that single mom who was trying to say goodnight to her kids, and those young soldiers who were battling mental health illness while on deployment. Knowing that when they come back to the States, it can be challenging. I think many of you in this room are aware of that. I am lucky and privileged enough that when I came back, I have a loving family, I have a supportive network, I have a job to come back to. I feel so lucky and privileged to be in that position. But that's not everyone. We have a generation of veterans who came back from wars, be it Vietnam in particular, that weren't always as welcome as they should have been. And it's because of their generation that they fought for their rights. They were in a place where, when I came back, I was welcomed. But when I thought about that transition of coming back to the States, how challenging it could be, I said, Governor, sign me up. I'm here to serve. I want to honorably serve those who served us. And to her credit, and to the Lieutenant Governor's credit, they have been 110% invested in this. There has been no governor in the history of this Commonwealth that has invested more in veteran services than they did in their very first budget. So for the past 8 months, we've been working hand in hand with many of you in the room to see how we can start this whole agency up and improve services for veterans and their families all across the Commonwealth. I'm happy to report to you that our first month in office, we secured the federal funding to build a brand new home in Holyoke. We had a groundbreaking in August. This is a $500 million project that's going to completely change lives for the better in Holyoke. Just 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, we opened up a brand new Chelsea home, state-of-the-art building, magnificent, has a physician. This is the most amazing healthcare associated building I've ever been around. It's 100% fossil-free. We moved some veterans in there just a couple of weeks ago. There were tears shared with veterans, their families, and staff. It's a powerful testament about what we can do when we work together. In the office, we've been steadfastly focused on improving services and building out a team to do all the amazing things that we need to do to support our veterans. We're revamping and reshaping how we go about looking at housing, certain services. A whole host of things are happening. But one thing I want to highlight is the importance of engagement. Our first 90 days, we visited every county in the Commonwealth, because it's important that I go out there and meet with people to hear their stories. I need to hear your stories to understand how to best serve you. Whether it's me or my staff out there, we're committed to hearing your stories, learning from you, and taking those lessons and applying them to government. And that's what we're committed to doing. And so, while these past 8 months have flown by, and I'm pretty excited about them, there's a lot more to do, obviously. The challenges are real. There are still veterans who are homeless, who are food insecure, who need support, who are transitioning, who are dealing with a whole host of mental health illnesses. And we can't do it alone. I want to do it in partnership with you. This is a team game, just like we talked about that team game with government. And I know you're up for the challenge. And so while Veterans Day is an opportunity to celebrate this country's heritage, your service, your sacrifice. It's also a call to action, to remind you that all what we have right now, the freedom to walk around, to be ourselves, to practice our religion, it isn't free. So I would invite you to join us in supporting our veterans. It is an honor to be here. I'm thankful for the time and look forward to getting to chat, get to know the folks in Norfolk County, and celebrating Veterans Day on Saturday. Thank you very much.
We'll be retiring the colors shortly, and again, a special thank you from the Norfolk Sheriff's Department, Dave Sheehan, Travis Lampron, and PJ Coletta. Again, we're grateful to all the veterans that are here today. We're grateful to all the veterans, past, present, and future. And we're grateful to each and every one of you who took the time to honor and come here today to remember our country's veterans, just by being here. So thank you all. A round of applause to each one of you that came here today. Thank you. Thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to call up Norfolk County Sheriff Patrick McDermott, who, as I said, is a much better singer than I. He's going to lead us in a song of God Bless America and then retire the colors. Patrick, thank you. Oh, thanks very much.
The Register of Good Deeds, of course. I served as the Register of Probate, which sometimes Register O'Donnell talked about the Register of Bad Deeds, was the Register of Probate. But I've been jumped around the sheriff, so it's an honor for me to be here. And it's this time of the year that's really special with Veterans Day, because I stand before you today as the proud son of a World War II veteran. And the McDermott boys from Brighton were quite fortunate and blessed, maybe through divine providence, but the McDermott brothers, there were 5 that served in World War II, 3 in the Navy, 2 in the Army. Another uncle of mine who served in Korea, and the youngest of the McDermott brothers served as a lieutenant commander for the United States Navy as a pilot. And the blessings that we had as the family of McDermotts from Brighton is that all 7 brothers came home. And that's not always the case, as we know, with our veterans. And I know that's the blessing that we will always carry, but it was in the family that we were instilled the value of the blessings that are bestowed upon us, and how blessed we are to have veterans who are willing to take up arms and fight for our freedoms, because as we all know, freedom is not free. It comes with a price. So I ask you to join me in that solemn prayer of God Bless America. As the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Detail off. Present arms. Order arms. Retrieve colors. Left face. Forward march.
And with that, the celebration's over. Thank you very much for coming. Have a good, thank you.